Hi, I'm Bill Sproul. The Keystone Mountain Lakes Regional Council of Carpenters is committed to educating the public about critical economic issues that affect their daily lives. That is why we are proud to support important programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Atlantic Health System, building healthier communities. Johnson & Johnson. NJ Best, New Jersey's 529 College Savings Plan. Turn a dream into a degree. Suez, water solutions to meet tomorrow's environmental challenges. Georgian Court University, the law firm of Gibbons, P.C. And by Keystone Mountain Lakes Regional Council of Carpenters. Your future is in our building. Promotional support provided by bestofnj.com, all New Jersey in one place. And by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association.
This is One-on-One. I'm an equal American just like you are.
The jobs of tomorrow are not the jobs of yesterday.
Look at this. You got this?
There it is, man. Look at that.
Life without dance is boring.
I don't care how good you are or how good you think you are, there is always something to learn.
Do you enjoy talking politics?
No.
People call me because they feel nobody's paying attention.
Our culture, I don't think, has ever been tested the way it's being tested right now.
Such a good question. High five.
Let me tell you, I love this job. You know why I love this job? Because you get to talk to fascinating people and good friends. In this case, it's the same guy in one. This is Joe Piscopo.
How are you? Good
He's
to see you.
a star of stage and screen. You look tremendous.
I've been up since 3 o'clock. I've been up
Well,
since
tell
3
everybody why you're up at 3. Your show starts in when?
6 o'clock, AM970 The Answer.
Till 10?
Until 10 o'clock, it's 4 hours of radio. Who came up with this idea, Steve? How are you, man?
Good to see you.
You know you get more handsome as you get older.
2 words.
Look at him.
Dorian
Gray.
My mother's...
Bloomfield Avenue.
All right, we can do this all day. Want to talk about The Godfather? No, I'm joking. We did. It's a joke. When I'm supposed to be on Joe's
Can I
talking
say
about
something
public
right off the
policy.
bat?
Yes.
I know. Can I, thank you.
This can be out of control
You
already.
do so much for Newark, man. The Adubato family, legendary Newark. It's like royalty in Newark, right? My family comes up, mom born in East Kinney Street. Dad brought up on Mount Prospect Avenue. My grandfather, Rosario, had a hat store on Bloomfield Avenue.
Look at this.
Look at it.
And then you moved up the Avenue West to the Caldwells.
They went with all the Wasps.
Did you go to Bloomfield?
To the Wasps. We didn't know what, I didn't know what magic was.
What high school did you go to?
West Essex High School.
West Essex.
And you know what? My 20th reunion.
I thought you were thrown out.
And I did. I know you were. eight times. I broke the record.
I know.
And they still invited me to the reunion.
Okay, I cut off your story. Go ahead. What are you going to say?
No, it's great that, we're all part of through Raymond Chambers, our mentor.
Yes.
And
the great philanthropist.
it's Saint Raymond. And he has put so much into this town, and you have too. It's great. I'm coming in. It's Newark, New Jersey.
This is NJTV.
It's busy.
NJTV's in Newark. It's making it happen.
And you stay in Newark.
Okay, Joe, you
Yes,
ready?
yes.
Can we talk some things outside of the things that you and I just like
don't
talking
make
about?
eye contact with me.
I want to. He'll start to laugh. By the way,
just when your relatives are going like that.
okay. Come here. Okay, listen. Stop, Joe.
I'm sorry.
Trump, you love him. Go ahead. Why?
Every time I put Steve on my show in the morning, it's like they said, Steve comes on your radio show. I go, yes. I have to defend the president. Steve does his thing.
Oh, listen. I don't listen. All I'm asking is why you seriously. I hear you with our good friend Neil Cavuto.
Yeah.
I see you with Maria Bartiromo, who you see in our Open.
May I say first, because you're my buddy? Neil asked me to be on the show this afternoon.
And you said?
I'm on Steve Adubato's show.
Do you only go on Italian shows?
And so, you know what Neil said to me? Who is that again? No, he
did not.
He did not.
Right. Neil's a friend. Stop that. Don't even go there.
I swear to God, I said to Neil, I got to go on Steve's show, and I've been needing to go on it. I can't.
Right,
he goes,
stop.
great, so I'm on tomorrow. So thanks. So he sends his love.
It was Barzini.
No.
I'm sorry. I won't do this anymore. Jen, don't get mad at me. No more Godfather references. So here we go.
Esoteric Godfather.
So here we go. Godfather to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Why do you love... You've said I love this guy.
Did I say that? Yeah.
Yes.
I think that, honestly, I've known him for... God, Steve, I mean, you were in high school. I was working the casinos, brother, right? And I would work for Donald Trump. I would go, they would say, there's a birthday party, Mr. Trump wants a birthday party. I worked with the guy. I never got treated better. He would send a private jet. He would do, and then, you know what? Your career, and Lord knows my career, goes up, it goes down, you hit, you miss, you keep going. I remember there was a downtime and I was in Atlantic City, I was at Kimberly, and I wanted to go to the hotel and use the gym. Donald Trump, gave Dennis Gomes, rest his brilliant soul.
Right.
That was his guy. Let Joe whatever he needs. You don't
Head of
forget.
we own the casino.
You don't forget about that stuff. You know?
But as president,
Yeah.
he treated you great.
Please.
But no, I'm not talking about that he liked you and he took care of you. That's
Yeah.
great. I'm happy
But
for
it
my
makes
friend.
you
As the president,
appreciate
hold
the
on, Joe. As the president,
Yeah.
are you ever concerned, as the gentleman that you are, the way you treat people with class and dignity, the way I know you respect women? Please tell me, Joe. There isn't a part of you that says, boy, I wish he'd behave a little differently.
You know what? I have to be. You don't want to marginalize. I learned this on the radio. He is, with due respect to everybody. You know, we had progressives on today. I talk to both sides all the time. Right president, the right president at the right time. He's doing everything exactly what needs to be done. And I don't want to get too political, but right now, we're a young country, Steve, my friend. We're a young country. And you know how our families came from Italy. They came to Italy.
From Naples. Our families came from the same
Bluefield
Go ahead.
What do? They learned the laws. They learned the language. They wanted to become American. People are coming into the country now, and they don't. The disrespect we're getting out of the House of Representatives on the Democratic side is insulting to me personally. In the name of my grandfather, I think this president is the right guy at the right time.
I appreciate you
to
saying
stop
all this,
that.
Joe, but you ducked my question about his tone, his demeanor, and the way he conducts himself in public. I didn't even talk about his policies. I'm asking you. Civil discourse, respect for each other, not name-calling, not mocking people.
How about if it starts from the press? How about if
Don't do what about them?
But what about them? What about that? You know, I always say.
You think we have a vendetta for this guy?
No, but I think that, and I don't know that it's so much Donald Trump as it is a conservative president. That's what I think. Anybody's Republican, and listen, I'm an independent. I'm a libertarian, man. I think both parties are crazy. You know, I'm a lifelong Democrat.
That's right.
Remember Frank Lautenberg, remember Bill Bradley, all the good.
You said good things about Cory Booker.
When the Democrats were common sense Democrats, you know? So when the press goes out, and I ask you this, Steve, does the president have any alternative but to tweet out?
Rather than to raise the bar and conduct himself in a different fashion? My opinion? Yes.
Yeah, would he do that?
You think he's got to punch back, don't you?
You know, I'll tell you what, I go by my audience. I have to tell you this. Would I like him to not tweet? Would I like him just to take the high road? I think that would be the best thing to do.
But you don't expect him to do it, do you?
Yeah, when I decipher the news, and we break down the news on AM970 The Answer, with if I may, with Frankie Morano,
Al Gattullo, and Debbie Duhane.
We got by the grace of God, we're the Salem Media flagship station. I have to decipher the news. I don't even know how I got here, but I'm loving it. Into the 6th year, I have to read. Not only do I have to see the news and look what it is, I have to decipher it, break it down, and then make an opinion on it. They attack this guy, President Trump, like nothing I've ever seen. So when I say on the air, and I do, boy, it'd be great what the president has done, how he stopped ISIS. That's monumental how he stopped ISIS. How he went in, how he created the jobs that he's doing in the Latino and the black communities. I know from the inside how he's helping the inner cities like nobody else is on the Democratic side. Then they nail him on every which way. The callers will call and say, he's got no choice but to tweet out. He's got no choice but to fight back. He's got no choice but
to mock people, call them names, and degrade them just by making reference to their physical appearance. What, respectfully, Joe, you're not being consistent. I'll tell you why. Because you don't act that way. Because you don't treat people that way. Because you believe in respect, and that's what we came from. And respectfully, I don't see it there.
And you know what? I ain't president of the United States either. You know.
You don't think that job requires? Listen. Say what you will about Obama. I know you disagree with him on a lot of things. Did he conduct himself like a classy president?
Never showed up in the neighborhood in South Chicago. He never showed up in the neighborhood. Look at the work the Adubato family has done in the inner cities of the United States. I tell you, never showed up in the neighborhood, never went back. We're more worried, and I agree, you have to worry about the devastation of the southern border of the United States. How about going to Patterson? Have you seen Patterson? A beautiful, great town, beautiful people. Go to Patterson. How about Oakland, California? How about New Orleans? You know, my mission in the last 25 years has been to help at-risk children. I never saw, and again, nothing, I don't want to say hate. I don't hate anybody.
That's not you.
I don't disrespect President Obama. If he went in, and I said this to a couple of my Democratic friends, get President Obama, even now, I think President Trump should reach out to President Obama, and they should do a tour of the stressed areas.
Do you think President Trump would reach out?
Maybe after the election. Maybe after
what do you
the
think is
election.
going to happen in 2020?
Well, I think it's a landslide. I think Donald Trump buries him. No one can even show up. I'll tell you. And it's just the way I look. I decipher it. There's nobody. When I go out, and I know what you're talking about because you and I are we're cut from the same cloth politically, and I come from that Bloomfield Avenue cloth where it's all Democrat. I couldn't even say the word Republican. You know what I'm saying? So I understand that. But when I went down, and I went out with Mayor Giuliani, and I went down on the road to campaign.
You were campaigning 16 for the president.
Yeah, man. I went out, and I saw in the face, in this big rally of 20,000 people in Tampa, I saw these people looking for something. They had no one to represent them.
And he hasn't disappointed them?
No, he hasn't disappointed them. He's been sticking up for the people. But to your point, and to answer your question directly, do I think that this president has done a good enough job where he can put the phone down and that he could just be, quote unquote, presidential? When he is, they bury him. So, and look, he knows better because look at how many people he won in that.
Give me one more minute on this. SNL, you were the star. You and that other guy, Eddie, I can't remember his last name. When you and Eddie Murphy just ran this town, ran New York, right? You guys were the best. Do you think that Alec Baldwin, when he does the Trump thing, when they lay on Trump, it's no different than any other president, Joe? And you know comedy better than anybody.
Well, I said, you don't cut funny. So, although I tell you, there's this guy, John D. Domenico. I just got on the phone with John. He's going to do the Rolling Gold Glove Awards with us. He's so funny as Donald Trump. I did Ronald Reagan, what Ronald Reagan did when I did President Reagan, and I was a hardcore Democrat, and I used to take shots at President Reagan.
He left.
I got invited to the White House.
They left.
I got invited to the White House.
By the way, you made fun of
a kid from Bloomfield, New Jersey, at the White House.
Did you not make a joke about the great Frank Sinatra?
Well, we kind of.
But he said it was all right.
It wasn't a joke. We used to do. I would do impression.
You did impression. I apologize.
Yeah,
and he said it was all right, kid.
Yeah, I asked permission. I asked the Godfather permission. It's an Italian thing, man. It's Italian. I thought we'd come in and have some laughs about Bloomfield Avenue.
I'm sorry. See, Joe.
Politics. Can I tell you this?
Go ahead. Got 30 seconds. Go.
Everybody's got to relax. We're the United States of America. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what your lifestyle is. I don't care what your religion is. Just don't ask me to be like you.
Agreed.
Leave us all alone. We will
Agreed.
get along. Put the hate aside. Put aside the divide,
Doesn't
man.
start at 1600. Never mind, Joe. You and I are going to talk off the air. But I still love you.
I love you too, Steve. God
Can
bless.
I come back on the show, or am I out now?
God bless.
Need a wartime.
On the island?
Okay.
No,
Okay.
go back.
This is Joe Piscopo. Check him out every morning at AM970, 6 a.m. He wakes up at, I don't know, 1:30 in the morning to do the show. To 10. Stop looking at yourself.
No, look, who's on the screen? You're on the screen.
We look good together.
God bless you,
See
my
you.
son.
Stop. Get off. We're done. We're done.
To watch more One-on-One with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
There he is, Joe Strupp, journalist, author of a compelling book called Killing Journalism: How Greed, Laziness, and Donald Trump are destroying news and how we can save it. Good to see you, Joe.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you always.
Let's jump right into this. What the heck does Donald Trump and what he has said about the media have to do with the fact that we, many of us in the media, particularly on the print side, are struggling financially?
I think he adds to the issue because, as most of the book deals with, the media is having problems financially. It's having problems with oversight. There are fewer people doing news. There are more big corporations and big guns making money off of news. The cable channels are taking it easy. They want to get the talking heads. They want to get the panels. They want to get the angry. And everything's breaking news now, even if it isn't. And you know, you've been in news longer than most of them. What's really not being covered is the important issues and the full in-depth issues. Trump comes in, he attacks the press, claims
Enemy of the people.
Right, we're enemies of the people, we're fake news. It's just not true.
Fake news. When people just repeat fake news about something that they think is fake or that they don't like, what's the problem with that?
A lot of it plays into the internet. The internet now puts everything on an equal scale. The New York Times, NYTimes.com, CNN.com, NJTV.com is on the same level with, you name the site.
And you're saying you don't think a significant number of people differentiate between, at NJTV and in our production company, we collaborate with NJTV.
Sure.
We vet this stuff. We have to back this stuff up.
And so the real news outlets, but people could put up things like InfoWars or WorldNet Daily or fake
hold on, you think people thought Alex Jones was...
whatever it might be, and they believe it.
You think people thought Alex Jones was for real?
Sure, they still do. He has plenty of followers. You know that. A lot of people think Trump is for real in many things
he's for real because he's the president.
That aren't true, right? But even before he was president, he still had false things. He had the birther idea. He had the wanted to see
President Obama
wanted
said
to
he
see
wasn't
Trump's
born in
birth
this country.
certificate. Wanted to see a lot of things that weren't true. Made claims about Muslims cheering on 9/11 in New Jersey that, of course, never happened. The proof's out there that it isn't real. And it isn't just Trump. It's a lot of people on the right and some on the left, but mostly on the rightish, or just lazy journalism that gets clicks, gets eyeballs, gets easy ratings. That's what sells. That's all that really counts because there's such competition, such a demand for the splintered audience, and so many outlets now. When we were kids, how many news outlets were there? How many newspapers
podcasts?
were there?
You have a couple podcasts.
Yes, I have podcasts, The Retro Room and Joe's Media Corner. And I also have my website that is thestrupblog.net. And I'm also working at Asbury Park Press these days as well, app.com. Have to get all the plugs in.
I hear you.
But there's a lot of sites
but
that
isn't
have
that better,
equal
Joe?
footing.
Isn't it better that
good.
all these different platforms we can get information? Isn't that better for us as information consumers?
It is. I think I call the internet a necessary evil because we need all that access. We have places where newspapers that used to have to wait a day to get news out can get it out as instantaneously as anyone else. That's a good thing. It's also great for research. You can read every newspaper in the world online right now.
Yeah.
Years ago, you couldn't. You had to go just to get the Boston Globe or the Washington Post. You had to wait a few days. But you also open the access to anyone who wants to put a website up, write whatever they want. People believe it because it's on the same level
What's the
as
impact?
a news outlet that is credible.
Joe, what's the impact?
I think the impact is people have to start trusting news that they're looking for news that they can trust and doing their own background, doing their own research. Don't just believe something because someone tweeted it out and you go to the link, or because your friend sent it to you, or because you went on a website that looks credible because it's well made.
And it reinforces something I already thought I believed.
That's the other
So it
problem.
must be good.
It's splintered on both left and right. People are just watching Fox. They're just watching MSNBC. They're just reading newspaper or magazine XYZ. They have to open up, but you have to do the research to find out what's credible online now, because there are so many things that can be online, not be credible, and no one cares. They're making money. The web is open. It's very difficult to shut down a website that gets things wrong.
Joe, newspaper's dead?
No.
We're talking with Joe Strupp, who's the author of Killing Journalism. Good stuff.
I don't think newspapers are dead. I think they're transitioned to other forms, websites, video. We do a lot of video where I am. The New York Times, a lot of sites do
But the
different
print
video.
is like, I'm old school, 4 or 5 papers every day. I read those papers, I
Yes.
mark them up. Staff looked at me the other day, came in with a bunch of articles marked up. Really, we could have seen these online.
Yeah.
I don't know, like marking them up.
The print is diminishing. You'll have a day when there's no or very few print papers.
That's happening.
It is. But most people younger than us are looking on their phones, are looking on their iPads, looking on their computers. That opens it up to a lot of different people getting different kinds of things. New York Times could never run video or audio 30 years ago. Now they can.
How's it any different with Donald Trump? You're saying Donald Trump talking about fake news and the media is the enemy of the people. How's it any different than what Richard Nixon did in the early 1970s when he basically argued that the media was the enemy as well?
That's a very good point, and I go into that in the book, the whole history of that, how it goes back to Nixon and even before Nixon. It's because he does have Twitter. He has a very unfiltered area he can get on. He's also dealing with cable news and the internet, which is constant. They're constantly watching him all day, broadcasting what he does. He can choose things he puts out.
What do you think of,
and he's much harsher.
What do you think about President Trump and Fox News together? I know those folks well, and we have some friends over there, but my question is, what do you think about that connection?
I think he definitely gets a lot of what he gets from Fox News. And a lot of it is the worst part of Fox. It's the Fox and Friends. It's the misinformation. There are good people at Fox, Brett Baer, Shep Smith. They do a very good job. Chris Wallace. They do good work. And they've taken him on. Megyn Kelly took him on when she was there.
Did.
I think it's dangerous on both ways, that it's a conflict. And he gets a lot of
But
information.
isn't it also
that
dangerous
true.
for MSNBC and CNN and some others who do Trump, nothing but Trump all the time?
Yes.
And most of it's having people on, even though they have others, who basically bash the guy constantly.
It is too much because there are other forms of news that are not being, there's other stories not being told. You can't watch MSNBC now without having Trump constantly.
I know what I'm going to get.
And there's other news, there's other stories. Oh, the only thing you get without Trump is if there's a big shooting or some big breaking story. Otherwise, people come on, the latest anti-Trump thing, which should be covered, but is it the only story all day? No.
It's degree. Before I let you out here, we created this new series called Think Tank, which I told you about.
Yes, excellent.
Policy, issue-oriented. Does it have a chance in the world that you just described?
I think people have to make it have a chance. I think those who are producing have to give people a reason to watch and listen and learn. And I think the public has to go looking for valued news now. There's so much news that isn't valued, that's not credible, that's lying to you, that's boring, that you do have to check the facts and check who is organizing the news you're seeing and not believe everything you see, because there's more of a chance now for news that isn't credible to get out there because of the internet.
Before I let you out of here, you're optimistic about this thing going in the right direction, moving in the right direction?
I'm skeptical, but I haven't given up completely because part of my book also looks at a lot of the answers, one of them being nonprofit news. And again, people educating themselves. There's a lot of fact-checking out there. There's a lot of websites that divide the lies from the truth, and I trust people for doing that.
Sorry for interrupting. The folks at Spotlight partner here with
Yes, it's another
with
great
NJTV.
nonprofit outlet.
Great stuff.
Yes.
Joe Strupp is the author of Killing Journalism, How Greed, Laziness, and Donald Trump Are Destroying News, and How We Can Save It. Get this book. It's important. And by the way, Jim Lehrer, PBS NewsHour, says it's terrific and it's important.
Yeah, Jim did
And by the way, you love PBS. I know that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, sir.
Well done. This is Steve Adubato. That's Joe. We'll be right back after this.
To watch more One-on-One with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
That's Kelly Thomas, barrel racing in a rodeo. The Florida native was an active teenager riding horses, playing soccer, and working on the family farm. Then, disaster. July 2014. A car accident left Kelly paralyzed, in a wheelchair, with her doctors saying she would never walk again.
Steve Adubato on location at Kessler Foundation. We're here for a very important forum, a discussion. It's called Transforming Care and Recovery for People with Spinal Cord Injury. And we're honored to be joined by one of the research participants here tonight. By the way, excuse the sound behind us. A lot of people want to be a part of this conversation. They want to listen and participate. So just bear with us. But Kelly Thomas is a research participant. Kelly, in 2014, you were involved in a car accident.
I was.
Talk about the injuries.
Well, I have a C7 T1 spinal cord injury. It's incomplete, so I have sensation, but I didn't have any motor. So my accident was a rollover motor vehicle accident. I ran off the shoulder of the road, flipped my vehicle 4 times, and was hanging half in, half out of the vehicle whenever, thank God, a retired paramedic was walking his dog down the street and saved my life.
You know, we were talking right before we got on the air, and I asked Kelly about being a research participant. And you're going to demonstrate something tonight, very important movement that was not possible how long ago?
5 years this year.
And by the way, Kelly's a part of, she's involved with epidural stimulation.
Yes.
And before I go back to how tough it was to make the decision to actually be a participant, explain to folks what epidural stimulation is.
So what the epidural stimulator is it's a spinal implant, and the spinal electrode lays in my lower lumbar spine, and I have a battery that's actually implanted in my lower abdomen, my lower left abdomen, and it has all the data in it that has different configurations that helps me facilitate movement. So many people have this epidural stimulator. It's a Medtronic device, and people use it for pain all the time, to block the signals of pain, and I use it for movement.
How much has it changed your life?
Dramatically.
How so?
Dramatically. Whenever I suffered my spinal cord injury, I asked my neurosurgeon, eye to eye, I said, what are my chances of ever walking again? And he said, I won't say 0, but maybe 1 or 2%. And I said, okay, I'll be your 1 or 2%. And I worked and worked as hard as I possibly could. And I had made progress, but I kind of hit a plateau, hit a wall, and I needed something more, and this epidural stimulator was available. And I moved to Kentucky for 1.5 years, and I did what I was told I would never do again. And so now I'm able to go out into the community and walk, and it's fantastic being eye level with other people.
Professionally, your background?
Professionally, I'm an amateur. I'm a college student. I was actually going to school for physical therapy whenever I had my accident. But I've changed my major, so I'm a criminal justice major.
Really?
I'm a senior, yes. So I'll finish my criminal justice degree in May, and I'll go to law school.
You're going to law school.
I am.
You're going to become a lawyer.
Yes.
Any particular kind of law you want to focus on?
Criminal law.
Criminal law.
Yes.
You were a little bit reluctant to become a research participant.
I was.
Because?
I was afraid. I was skeptical. The other research participants at that time had not really reached a level of success that I was looking for. I wanted to walk, I wanted to do it, I wanted to be the biggest and best at it, kind of my nature. So they had gotten one or two things back, you know, they had regained the ability to sweat, they could stand, but I wanted to walk, and none of them at that point were walking, and that what if got into my brain. What if I'm the one that figures it out? What if I'm the one that walks?
Were you always this tough?
Yes, I was raised on a farm. I was raised by cowboys. So I was taught my whole life that you don't try at things, you do things. So
we are honored to have you with us tonight. Honored
you.
to listen to you share your experience, and we look forward to, most importantly, your continued progress and success.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 30 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Atlantic Health System, Johnson & Johnson, NJ Best, New Jersey's 529 College Savings Plan, Suez, Georgian Court University, the law firm of Gibbons, P.C., and by Keystone Mountain Lakes Regional Council of Carpenters. Promotional support provided by bestofnj.com and by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.
What is your child's dream for the future? Doctor? Teacher? Architect? Whatever they aspire to be, a college education may realize those dreams. And NJ Best can help. It's the college savings plan specifically designed for New Jersey families. Start saving today with as little as $25, because now is the time to invest in their future. To learn about NJ Best 529 College Savings Plan, its investment objectives, risks, and costs, read the Investor Handbook available at njbest.com.